Heath, I'll come to you first. Weston, McKennie, and Juventus took on Roma. It was a 1-1 at the end of the day, but McKennie did not start. And this guy named Rabiot, who I thought was on his way to Manchester United, did get the start next to Locatelli. A little disappointed that McKennie didn't start, but he came off for the last 13 minutes to, I guess, see the game out or to maybe nick a goal at the end, but it didn't happen. Are you disappointed like me that he didn't get the start in this one?
Yeah, so. A little bit, just because it's a little bit. I mean, man,
do I have to say Paul Pogba?
Yeah,
there's a lot of Paul Pogba stuff going on right now.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I went from being like, this guy, I'm never worried about this guy, to being like, well, they do have some depth. The upside that I think about Juventus is they're not Juventus from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where they had this massive team of names that I don't think Weston would have fit into that. And then Weston's sort of been on the backside of, financial issues with the club, of trying to shed weight and all these things. And so I still think that he's in a competitive spot to be able to be a starter moving forward, because they don't have what is a team that I think is built to win the Scudetto and focus on Champions League. They're focused on hopefully winning, hopefully finishing in the top to compete for a Scudetto, and hopefully going deep in the Champions League versus, teams of the past, which were focused on, hey, we're going to cruise to a Scudetto, and Champions League is our big push.
And what I find interesting, Charlie, is the fact that this midfield three for Juve was Locatelli, Rabiot, and Moretti. And you have Zakaria, who they just got from the Bundesliga last season, and McKennie both on the bench. Both of them came on during the game, but it felt like those were the guys they were going to be leaning on. Those two, Locatelli and Pogba, were really going to be the midfield driving forward. Rabiot seemed to be on the outs and outs, but then all of a sudden he gets a big start against Roma. I found that to be really interesting. But I also saw that the Gazzetta, one of the publications, reputable publications from what I understand, in Italy, reporting that the club is open. Juve's open to listening to offers for Weston McKennie, but they don't want a loan deal. They only want a permanent move, and that's now scaring some of the clubs away, because I think Tottenham and Manchester United were both expressing some interest in Weston McKennie. That's a big surprise to me, that there's at least a little smoke now around the future of Weston McKennie. I know we're getting close to the transfer window ending, and so this will go away at some point, but I don't know.
That doesn't surprise me, because his name's been floated ever since he's been a Juve player. So it's not something where they said, Weston McKennie is our future and we're going to lock him in and he's central to our success. Now he's earned his playing time, and he's done well, especially in Champions League with Juve. But I always thought that wasn't going to be his final destination. It was a place where he's going to make the most of his opportunities, and obviously put himself out there for a lot of clubs to take interest. I know Tottenham has been really interested in taking Weston McKennie. So it's not a surprise for me. Him and Christian Pulisic are kind of in the same position, where you just have to continue to prove yourself every week and hope that you get into a good form and you stay injury free and you just ride it out.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It's going to be interesting, though, for a lot of clubs and a lot of players before the transfer window closes. We'll see if McKennie makes any moves. Now, before we get into our players playing in the Premier League, let's talk about the Bundesliga, because we've already talked about Jordan P-Funk, but Joe Scally played 90 minutes against Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena in Munich, and it was a 1-1 draw. And shout out to Scally for getting that trust, as we've discussed in previous podcasts. Now, he said this before the Bayern game as it pertains to the U.S. men's national team. This is a quote from Joe Scally. I was very focused and ready for his opportunity back in the June camp. I kept preparing for it because I knew I had to show myself. I didn't play my best game against Uruguay, but it happens. Training was good. So, I'm focused right now on the club. So for September, I hope I'm called in. Hopefully I've deserved it. And the last camp, I've showed it. Do you think Joe Scally gets called in, Heath Pearce? What are you saying about Joe Scally? And because if you watch this game against Mönchengladbach versus Bayern, there were a couple times where Sadio Mane got the better of him at the back post.
Yeah, Jimmy, Jan Sommer set a record for most saves in a Bundesliga match ever at 19. Bayern scored on their 25th shot. It was a complete blowout. But if I was Joe Scally, I'd be super happy because you left Allianz with the point. But yeah, you're playing against, that's a tough. It's like Charlie. I don't remember who we were talking about last time, where Charlie was like, you're going to get skinned in a game like that a few times, right? But Gladbach now got a point out of that. That's a team effort or team result
They
you
also,
want to get. But
Gladbach also scored on their first shot of the game in the 43rd minute. It took them 43 minutes to get a shot on goal, and it's because Upamecano made a mistake that led to it. But yeah, I just Joe Scally for me, it's interesting because he's 19, and Sadio Mane obviously ton of experience, and he should have scored. Well, Sadio Mane did score. They called it back on VAR early in the game, maybe 10, 15 minutes in. And Scally had him and then didn't have him, and then Mane scores. I mean, that's what you're going to face when you're playing at the highest level. So that's what he's going to face.
I just don't see that. Like, there's just this, when you watch players and you just look like
you look the part.
Yeah.
He doesn't look the part.
Yeah. He looks just like almost like, he doesn't look like he's fully there yet in terms of confidence, in terms of owning that spot. It's very almost reactionary, and he's got the athleticism. He's got all these things, but I haven't seen this big jump of like 30 plus now Bundesliga games that he's gotten to where you go, okay, if I were to watch it without knowing who Joe Scally is, I would still see what I feel to be a young, inexperienced fullback on the field whenever he's in and around the ball. He's good on the ball, good passer, all those types of things, but I still think he needs more minutes and more jumps, but I think he gets called in for sure.
Okay. So you think
I'm with you, Heath.
Yeah. But he doesn't look the part.
No. I'm the game. He even admitted it himself, which is difficult for a player to say. You know what? I actually wasn't that good in the match. He wasn't. And for Greg Berhalter, training he was pretty solid, but I think that game highlighted a big portion of his insecurities in terms of being on the pitch as a right back, because you feel like he's chasing the game. Like
right.
it is reactionary, but it's mostly I'm not owning it and taking runs in behind, stretching the back line, using the width to my advantage. I'm more, I'm afraid to make a mistake. That's what it looks like. I'm just trying not to make a mistake. And it's almost like ragtag defending, always have to slide tackle, you're playing on the edge. And for me, he needs to slow it down a little bit. And so because he's playing four straight Bundesliga games, I think he gets the call up, but I don't think he's the answer at right back now.
We have a lot of options. You got Cannon, you got Yedlin, you got Dest. Dest wasn't in the 18 again for Barcelona this season. They try to figure out his situation. Maybe he goes to United. Who knows?
Well, he just said he's staying. He put out a statement. He's going to stay. So
all right. Well, at least you lose the uncertainty, and I think both club and player can just move forward knowing that he's going to be an option. So that's good to know, not just for his situation. For any players,
but he had to earn that trust already from Xavi, who then wrote him off again.
I know.
And like I don't know, man.
I don't know. All right, let's go to Premier League. I'm going to just go through the results for our players, and then you guys can jump in. Charlie, I'll come to you first once I'm done with this. So Leeds plays away to Brighton at the Amex. They lose 1-0, the first loss of the season. Brendan Aronson actually started centrally in this one to accommodate Daniel James on one side and Jack Harrison on the other. Rodrigo was up top. I do want to say, and I give a shout out to Jesse Marsh, we talked about it last week, but allowed me to come to training and get to see some of the how the sausage is made behind the scenes. So that was very cool. And obviously watching the team in a little bit of a different way now that I have a little bit of insight. Tyler Adams, pretty solid, but I don't know if he had as much, maybe didn't stand out as much. It was, I think, just a tough performance overall. I thought Brighton very well coached by Graham Potter and maybe did a little bit more. I thought in the first half, it was all Brighton. The second half, I thought there were some adjustments that Jesse made that did make it a little bit more on the balance. But interesting that Brendan started centrally and didn't have as much of an influence. I think maybe we could all agree that he's better out wide. Chelsea win 2-1 despite being a man down for 65 minutes of the game. Pulisic plays the last 15, but the guy that essentially replaced him in the starting lineup, Raheem Sterling, scored twice, his first 2 goals of the year. So Pulisic's situation doesn't look like it's going to improve anytime soon. Arsenal, Fulham goes up a goal. I was at this game. Arsenal come back into it. Ream I thought was pretty solid, but like
he got did on the first goal.
What's that? He could have closed better, right?
He was done on the first goal.
Yeah, right. He got cut and then couldn't recover on that. I
it's
think
not a recipe for success to defend like that. For it's Arsenal. I get it. Their attack is unbelievable, but to go 90 minutes for a full season sitting on top of your box, like it's great that they've gotten early points. I think that's a huge part of getting early points in the season. But man, that is not.
He also got subbed off, which I found to be kind of interesting. Like your captain center back getting subbed off. Now I know that he got a little tweak earlier in the game where he got knocked, his back or his hammy or whatever. Crystal Palace up 2-0, and Chris Richards comes on as a sub with his team up 2-1 at this point, and then Erling Haaland scores 3. And so Richards was marking him on one play, and very similar to Joe Scally and Sadio Mane, just kind of lost him. It was a bit of a deflection. I don't completely put it on Chris, but
I think he played left back, didn't he? Came on.
He
like
did
left
for a
back.
little bit, and I think they went to a
is that
3,
right?
and then he played on the right side of the 3,
Yeah.
and either way, they were up 2-0 and lost 4-2. So it's not a good look, and it's unfortunate that Chris had to be a part of that. It's one of those, like, how would have been cool to maybe see that one from the bench, so you're not responsible, but obviously a great experience to go up against some of the best players. He played against Holland in the Bundesliga with Hoffenheim, so it's not like that's a new experience.